Hi. So you're thinking about using a continuous glucose monitor or a CGM to help reverse your prediabetes. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of one, why you would use a CGM with prediabetes, two, how to obtain a CGM and at the lowest cost to you, and three, what to expect a CGM will tell you about your blood sugar. So, first of all, what is a continuous glucose monitor? A continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, is a small wearable device that contains a tiny filament that attaches to your skin. Typically, the device is applied to your arm or your abdomen. The sensor measures your interstitial glucose level, which is the glucose found in the fluid between the cells. The sensor automatically tests glucose every few minutes, and a transmitter wirelessly sends the information to a monitor or to an application on your smartphone. There you can see data for hours of the day and across several days. A CGM has been traditionally used by people who have diabetes because they have to monitor their blood sugar to know how effective their insulin injections have been and if they need to adjust them. But if you have prediabetes, a CGM can be a great way to reverse the condition and prevent getting type 2 diabetes. And here's why. A CGM will help you see exactly which foods are causing blood sugar spikes, so you can learn which foods to avoid and which foods are A-OK. This way, you don't have to blindly avoid foods that you love and that may actually be okay for you. A CGM has some benefits over using a glucometer, which you can learn about in my other video called Using a Glucometer for Prediabetes. Now, the benefits of a CGM are one, that you get continuous real-time data on your blood sugar levels. Two, you wear a CGM for about 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on which one you use. So you only have one initial poke, which is really very painless, and then you're all set. And three, and this is probably the biggest benefit, is that with a CGM, you're able to see what your blood sugar is after you eat. So after you consume food, your blood sugar hits a peak. This is what's known as your postprandial glucose peak. It usually happens around 2 hours after you eat, but it's difficult to know exactly when it will occur. And it's an important number because it tells you your glucose response to specific food. With a CGM, your glucose is tracked continuously, so you can just look at your results anytime and see what your postprandial number is. And to do this with a glucometer, where you poke your finger, you'd have to time it just right to see when your peak is. A CGM basically takes away the guesswork. Now, there are a couple of disadvantages to using a CGM. They are slightly less accurate than using a glucometer with the finger prick method, but a CGM is better at showing trends over a 24-hour period because they run continuously. Now, the biggest disadvantage to a CGM is cost, but I'm going to explain several ways you can get one, and I'm going to give you a tip for the most affordable way. So now there are now several companies who provide comprehensive CGM services without a doctor's prescription. This means you can get a CGM delivered to you by mail, ready to use, and you don't need to see your doctor. The companies include Veri, NutriSense, Levels, and Signos, and there's probably more coming. The prices vary from about $100 to $300 per month, and many of the companies provide an app for your phone and detailed instructions on how to use the CGM. My personal recommendation is Veri because I think their options are the most flexible, and there's a link down below to check them out. Going with one of these companies is the easiest way to get started using a CGM. And with prediabetes, you don't need to wear a CGM all the time, like someone who has diabetes. With my clients, I usually recommend using a CGM 2 or 3 times spread out over several months to really learn what foods are affecting your blood sugar the most. So now I'm going to explain the most affordable way to use a CGM, and that's by talking with your doctor to get a prescription. If you have prediabetes, many doctors will be willing to write you a prescription for a CGM. But here's the catch. Most insurance companies will not pay for a CGM for prediabetes, but you can pay cash at a pharmacy, and the cost of the CGM will actually be less than the companies that I previously mentioned. So for a Freestyle Libre CGM, which is one of the most commonly used CGMs, you'll pay between $30 and $40 per CGM. So pretty affordable, actually. Now, the downside to this option is that you don't get the detailed instructions and guidance that you get with one of the companies that I previously mentioned. But the bottom line here is that using a CGM is one of the fastest ways you can get control of your blood sugar when you have prediabetes. I highly recommend it. Now, that's it for now. If you want to get more useful prediabetes and weight loss tips, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.